Hello everyone, this is Benjamin Ramirez, going over another video of the Sicilian wing gambit variation that I've been working on. The first moves are obviously wing gambit captures. Knight to f3 is the move that I've worked with. I believe is the best move in this situation. It is currently not a book move. I am hoping to make it one. After that, knight to c6 is the most common move I've seen, so all my videos so far are about knight to c6. I'm doing two more parts right now. After that, b4, and right now I'm going over this, which I believe is a bad move. This right here is fine. I'll explain the difference very soon. After that move, if I attack the knight, he can easily try to counterattack the rook, and you'd have to do a lot of stuff. I mean, if he does on that, you can watch that. There's a lot going on there. But if he plays b6 and you move up, he doesn't have the same benefit of moving the bishop over and attacking your rook. He would just simply lose his knight. So in this situation, this is bad because you just take it. You just take it with the queen. This is bad because you just take with the knight. The only two possible moves are to move back, which no one wants to move back in the opening. I'll go over that tiny bit. Or here, which is the only other move he has. So I believe b6 is a bad move in this situation. I'm not sure 100% who would play something like that, but just to go over it, just in case you see it, I mean, people from all levels might try it, so if you're trying it from any kind of level, then obviously, it's very possible for you to see it. Now, hold on one second, please. After knight to a5, I had to go over a little bit of things. I believe this right here is the best. I like it because of its attacking chances, and it kind of prevents the d pawn from moving. There's a few options for black. The best thing is right here. It kind of stops the type of attack that you're going for, and he moves back, and basically he can just simply continue to develop. I think that's the best case scenario for black to do, and then he can obviously finish his bishop if he wanted. And it's not too bad. It's a little slight advantage for white according to Stockfish, but it's not severe enough to where you're going to win every game. Obviously, it's just a slight advantage. Now, instead of a6, there are a few other moves that black can play. e6 is very possible. If somebody were to play to e6, I mean, you can try to cramp him if you like. I believe almost anything besides a6 is very possible to try to cramp your opponent and squeeze him in. So I'll just go over simple things other than a6 to show the type of cramping that can happen. He can play bishop here, and I mean, after bishop, I don't see any way to fully cramp somebody here. I would simply just castle and continue the game from there. Your pieces are already developed, and he kind of is blocked in right there. So there's not much that he really can do with his bishop in that situation. Just make sure that you have your pawns intact and you're protecting everything properly. So that's pretty much what I would go when it comes to that part. e5 is possible. I don't like it very much, but it's possible. Obviously, you can continue to try to squeeze somebody in. I mean, if he decides to make a developing move or a normal move, you can just simply continue on. I mean, he's pretty much cramped in there pretty badly. So that's why I think b6 is not super good. I haven't seen it. I do think b6 is fine if you don't play the knight first, so I would definitely make lines on that later and explain. I haven't seen anyone do it, but I think it is fine at this point. One second. I believe at this point here, b6 would be fine. And then if he moves up, I do believe this right here to be fine for black. But right now, I am specifically going over knight to c6 moves. And if he plays knight to c6, I'm explaining why I believe it's bad. So you would see the videos based on b6. Not sure exactly when. It may take a month or 2 or 3 months. I'm still working on a lot of stuff here. So you would see the lines for this, like I said, very soon. And it is fine for black, but this right here is a mistake to do. It is not very nice. So that's pretty much what I'm going to go over, and how it's kind of like his position is not very going to be very well off. It's very compromised. I already went over e6. I look over my notes. Knight to f6 is bad as well at this point, because you can simply just march up, and he has not very many options on where to go. So let's say if he decides to continue to go forward for any reason, I would simply just continue. I mean, he can't capture with his d pawn. The only pawn he can capture with is this pawn right here, and that's not looking so great. I mean, he can do something different, like push the bishop back, so he can try to recapture at some point, but you have the queen there. So it's just pretty cramped, and it's going to take a pretty good understanding to deal with that properly. So, I mean, obviously he doesn't want to go back. I mean, people don't like moving back. I mean, if he moved back, you can simply continue this way. And if he tried to capture, I would just move my knight here because of the queen. I believe that the queen has a nice attack here with the, you know. And let's pretend he completely ignores it. That's a pretty bad trap to actually fall into, because he can't capture it with the pawn, and the queen has nowhere to go. So I would definitely do something like that. But I don't think this is anything you actually would see, but I want to go over it just to be thorough and go over different moves. So there's that for knight to f6. Now instead of knight to f6, queen to c7 is also very possible. I would either move the bishop, which is pretty much mostly what I would, just attack the king side. I mean, there's a very good chance that he would try to push the bishop back, which is perfectly fine. And then if he decided to play a move like that, he would be okay because the bishop is pushed back. So it's not entirely hopeless for black to do something like that. It's just not very good, but it's still possible, and I haven't really seen it. So you might see it if you play it and you run into any of those two variations. Hold on a second here. If you run into these variations, if I move up, I'm not sure if I went over that one. I think I did. I would simply move up is what I would do here, and just, obviously the idea would be to fianchetto, which is perfectly fine. I normally don't play a3. That's the, but in this position, if he played a3 and he captured, this would actually be pretty decent for you. Because obviously if he moves up, he just, so I would do something like that and try to gain as much space as possible. I mean, he might try to fianchetto his bishop, that way his king's not in a bad situation. So, you just basically continue to develop from there and play chess like normal. That's pretty much what I would do. So it's, he's kind of cramped in there. You have a lot more space. You don't have too much of an advantage, except for the fact that you can try to keep constructing him. And usually players that are not very good playing defense usually kind of choke up. So that's it for 19 and 20, I believe. I believe it's 19 and 20. And then after this, instead of b6, I'm going to be going over e5. The next 3 lines are e5. So just wanted to go over something very simple, very easy. If you ever play this opening and you use one of the lines and you want to tell me about it, feel perfectly fine to say something in the comments. I am on Facebook. I do have a page on Facebook called Sicilian Wing. I think it's Chess Opening Sicilian Wing Gambit Ramirez Variation. It's a private group. You have to search for it. I mean, if you put opening Sicilian, it should pop up in your search on Facebook. You can always try to get a hold of me that way, so that'd be actually a lot easier. So don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know how things work. No, I would say it's over and over again, the most common mistake I've ever seen in here was this. That was the most common mistake I've seen. That was because of bullet. People pre-moved their knight, so they kind of in cramped situation there. So I think I went over that in one of my earlier videos, so I'm not going to do it again in this one. Just like keep it nice and short, under 20 minutes. Like and subscribe and tell me your thoughts.